Hey, what's going on out there, everybody? Welcome to the 95 Note Sports Machine. I am your host, Berto, joined by my guys, Antoine Smitty Smith and Chris Titmore. We got an amazing interview coming up at the top of the hour, around 9:30. Mr. Henri Crockett will be joining the show, but we figured, hey, man, let's jump a little bit early and let's address the topic at hand. The big news
Mhm.
coming out of Atlanta, man. The Falcons finally got their premier pass rusher, man. So, gentlemen, Matthew Judon changed his destination to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. How are y'all liking this? How y'all feeling, man?
Before we get started, I got to say this, man.
Yes, sir.
And this is special to me, man, because this fan has been following me ever since I started, man. Miss Leanne Loftus, she has been battling cancer for the last couple of months. And we're going to send prayers out to her as a fan base, man. We're going to stand behind her because she's one of the biggest Falcon fans out there, man. So she's not in this battle alone. And as Falcon fans, we're going to stand behind her. So Miss Leanne Loftus, we thinking about you, man. And you're definitely in our prayers. You're going to beat this. And trust me, God is with you, and we are with you too.
Facts,
Amen.
facts,
Amen, man.
definitely. But yeah, about Matthew Judon, premier pass rusher, man. Ranked 19th right now among active pass rushers with 66 and a half sacks. Hey, we needed to get some pass rush, straight up and down. We just lost our rookie, Braylon Trace, and honestly, we needed to make this move, y'all. We needed somebody to get on that edge, somebody that can generate pressure. And it's so crazy because this guy, before he got injured last year with the bicep injury, he had
Right.
42 pressures alone, back to back years. And how many sacks did we have? I'm just saying, man, this is a guy that can
Mm.
get the pressure on the quarterback. I'm happy, man. Former fifth round pick coming to the A, and his birthday's tomorrow. Ain't that something?
Ooh, imagine
Hey,
that.
that's what I'm talking about. Magic City lemon pepper wings on me. But
Oh, man,
RJ,
Hey,
what you
there you
got to
go.
say,
come on,
man?
man. Come on,
There you
get the
go.
guy. Let him get acclimated now. Come on, Smitty.
Yeah, Smitty gonna get him
Hey, I'm just
acclimated, all
saying.
right.
I'm just saying.
Damn.
Ass swinging and chicken wanging. That's what I do.
Ass
Damn.
swinging and chicken wanging.
Chicken wanging.
He
Hey,
came up with
Fantastic,
that on the fly,
man.
y'all. He didn't have that
It,
right.
pre-planned. I
it,
promise you.
Hey,
I
Smitty
what I
promise
smooth.
you.
Smitty
hey,
smooth,
that's why they
man.
call me Smooth Smitty because it comes smooth off the dome. But RJ,
Yeah.
man,
Okay,
go ahead, my
okay.
dude.
We will call you something
Yeah,
else, but you know.
about this trade, man, as soon as I saw this, I just got excited because I mean, when the last time we actually had a legit pass rushing threat? I mean, him alone, like you said, A1, a whole bunch of quarterback pressures. That's gonna
Mhm.
just knock the like unlock some of my other pass rushers, Zach Harrison, on that Pachetti. Who else
Definitely,
I need to
definitely.
name? Like this,
Angelo
we
Malone, even.
Angelo
I got to.
Malone.
Angelo
yeah,
Malone.
him
Rizzo
too.
Carter. Yeah.
I mean, it's just ooh we. I can just imagine like how many like pressures that we can like get now, and with the
Right.
defense, like that energizer that he gonna bring to the team, even more than we already have with Raheem Morris, just being the voice of the locker room.
Mhm. Right.
Oh man, the sky's the limit right now.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
What say you, Smitty?
I hate to be the one to say it, but I told y'all the move like this was coming. I've been talking about this guy for the last 45 months and why he made sense. And it's
Mhm.
sad that Trice getting hurt had to push their hand out there. Because if
Right.
Trice doesn't get hurt, I don't think this move happened. But
Mm-mm.
since we're all in now and they know they have to make a move, this was the best move. And I see
Mm.
people talk about Hassan Reddick. I get it. He's another one of those guys that he's gonna make this defense better. But you get a dude who is better against the run. Like Chris said, he's one of the best at pressuring the quarterback. And
Mhm.
now you add him along with Bates, AJ, Grady, Onyemata, and the rest of the team. Hey, it's Super Bowl or bust. It ain't no way around it.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put
Yeah,
it out
Hey,
there
man.
just like this: the NFC South is not strong. The Eagles taking a back seat. The Dallas Cowboys they're gonna
Mhm.
have distraction with contracts. I think that
Mhm.
three teams in the NFC right now, or the two teams that made the NFC Championship game last year, Detroit and San Francisco, then you
Yeah.
have the Falcons. And if you want me to be honest with you, I trust Kirk Cousins more than I do Jared Goff. You see him break down in the championship game. I trust Kirk Cousins more than I trust
Mhm.
Brock Purdy. And we all know Kyle Shanahan's offense is tailor-made for quarterbacks, tailor-made for running backs. But guess what? So it's the same offense that we're running here. We actually have more weapons. And guess what? Christian McCaffrey is going to start the season nicked up, calf muscle injury. So guess what?
Mhm.
They may be off to a slow start, which means we got to get off to a faster start. So
Hey,
hey,
we do.
this
We
move
definitely got
only
to come
made
up
so
with a
much
faster
sense,
start.
man. And
Yeah.
I've said it time and time again. I hate injuries happen, but sometimes they're a
Mhm.
blessing in disguise. And I think it's happened twice for the Atlanta Falcons. And I think
Fact.
Justin Simmons still could be coming here.
Yep,
But
that's
we
what
just
I was
gonna
about
keep
to
that on.
say too. Yep.
Hey,
I s-
we gonna keep that on the back burner because if that happens, we gonna blow Twitter up.
We're
You feel me?
gonna add to that definitely, most definitely with the Justin Simmons situation. But talking still about the Matthew Judon situation, you
Right.
talk about a veteran in this league, 8 years or more, 66 and a half career sacks. Had 20. Well, I think he had what 12 and a half in 2021, 15 and a half in
uh,
2022.
yeah.
Haven't had a 15 or a 10 plus sack guy since Vic Beasley, since his days in 2016. This guy last year, Matthew Judon, before the tricep injury that Chris mentioned, was well on his way to going on and breaking his own sack record, as he posted 4 sacks in over 4 games. So he was on that steady climb to getting there. But a guy, of course, that has been one of the best pure edge defenders, edge rushers, finishing second in the league or coming in second in the league to Nick Bosa the past 5 years in the pressure win rate. It speaks volumes to what the Falcons now can do, schematically on defense. You add a guy like him, it like Chris was mentioning, it might light the fire under Arnold Ebiketti's ass, man, because what we saw from him on Friday night and what we've been hearing from him is really not all too inspiring. But Smitty said it best too. Sometimes these injuries, although you hate to hear about them, they're blessing in disguise, man. And this was a much needed move. So with this move now, putting Matthew Judon on our roster, guys like Grady Jarrett, who Atlanta has ignored for years in acquiring talent along the defensive line. I know they acquired David Onyemata to kind of help, but he's getting up there in age. We have a trio of veterans that know how to win games and know how to get it done and close out games when it matters the most. And Matthew Judon, he comes from a championship pedigree with Baltimore, with New England, so it's a great move. Now let's talk a little bit about the compensation as to
Oh,
what
and
Atlanta
don't
gave up.
forget,
Good.
Boy, we
he played
stole.
in the 3-4. He's played in the
We
3-4 defense
stole.
his entire career, so
Yeah.
he's gonna
Yep.
come
If
in
it,
fit
the
right
fit,
in with this system.
Yep.
Yeah.
the
Yep.
fit, man.
So and
Go ahead, brother.
yeah, so the Falcons, of course, made the move today, acquired Matthew Judon for a third-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. To some, it's nothing, right? It it's really nothing, right? They give up just a third-round pick for such a vested veteran in this league, a four-time
Right.
Pro Bowler in the form of Matthew Judon. The Falcons got a steal in this one. Of course,
Yeah.
the conversation is going to be had, with the contract situation looming. Will the Falcons extend him? The Falcons absorb most of his contract. Recently, the Falcons were under. Well, yeah, they were under by just 3 million, but now they're over the cap, 11 million. So I know that the Falcons are gonna have to shuffle some contracts. And Smitty, you were talking about two
Of
guys
course.
before we went live that we can move some money around, and that guy you just mentioned is
Chris
still
Lindstrom.
real. Yep, Chris Lindstrom, Jesse Bates, but the money that
Yep.
it frees, Justin Simmons is still a possibility for these Falcons, man. So if you guys want to
Right.
just touch on that a little bit, I'll start with Smitty. What do you think about the movement of money and what it could potentially land the Falcons down the line still?
Yeah, it could work out all for the Falcons. See, this is again, everything happened for a reason. It's in the Bible. Argue with your mama. But when you look at Chris Lindstrom, man, one of the highest paid guard in the league. When you restructure his deal, you restructure Jesse Bates. That's $16 million just those two players. And we
Yep.
talk about Taylor Heineke not being on the team probably that's another 1.5 million. You look at Mike Hughes. If they go out and find somebody they can replace Mike Hughes with, that's another 3 million. So they can find a way to make enough moves to where they'll sign Justin Simmons, to where they'll have Matthew Judon, because as I've been hearing rumors that they're going to have a deal done before the season starts. So what they're going to have to do is front load his contract, his signing bonus money, and have his number probably around the 5 to 7 million mark. Same with Justin Simmons, and Justin Simmons could be a short-term answer. We talk about 2-year window with Kirk Cousins. Hell, Justin Simmons could be part of that window.
Mm-hmm.
So as I look at it, it's just still a couple of moves that they can make to finish and round off this team. And don't forget, Raheem Morris was in Los Angeles when they got Von Miller and Matthew Stafford. They're doing the exact same thing right here, right now. So just pay attention.
Yeah, I got a question to throw out there to you guys, and still the one that's been asked before is still fresh. So join in and answer whenever you please. Let me ask you a question, guys. Justin Simmons is not a long-term signing for these Atlanta Falcons. We got to make that shit clear. He's not.
2 years at most.
2 years, most
2 years.
31 years of age. He plays a very physical position in the NFL. I mean, although teams seem to be trending away from paying safeties nowadays, we saw what happened with Jamal Adams, had such an inflated contract that the Seahawks ended up axing him. But Justin Simmons to the Falcons is not a long-term solution. We could turn around and address this position of need next year in the 2025 NFL draft, which we still have our first, our second, our fourth, fifth, and etc. So I'm not worried about if Justin Simmons comes in, nor the contract compensation. I really have a lot of belief in Terry, how he can maneuver around certain contracts and whatnot to free up even more money. Smitty, like you mentioned, Chris Lindstrom, Jesse Bates III, of course, those guys come immediately to mind. Hey, hell, even Caleb McGarry, who has a pretty decent contract as well. He's a guy that, if we restructure, could become a more attractive cut candidate for next year. And it'll be minimal damage to the dead cap situation. But to the Justin Simmons situation, Chris and RJ, do you still feel like is a possibility? And again, your thoughts on the compensation for Matthew Judon.
Go ahead, RJ.
One, with Justin Simmons, that's definitely gonna be like a boost in our secondary. We already know how Falcon Nation's like feeling with him and Jesse Bates like together and stuff. And also with his leadership and expertise when years in the NFL, someone like DeMarco Helmson actually looked after while he's healing up, to get his game sharpened up and everything. So most definitely it's definitely gonna be like a short term. I can definitely see just 1 year, one and done with him. And like you said, just address that position next season, unless they see a free agent they may want to grab up just to fill the void in. But other than that, in regards to what was the other question?
I'm sorry?
What
was the other question?
Oh, the Justin Simmons possibility still here in Atlanta.
Yeah, so I would say with Justin Simmons, it's like I said, it's just like a one and done. Like I said, signing with him. Basically just to help boost up the backfield with with Judon coming in with the front. I mean, like I said, that's really just gonna be really a complete offense. Like AJ Terrell gonna do this thing, and whoever wins the battle with Mike Hughes and Clark Phillips, everything should be fine. Everything that's pretty much the glue that's gonna have a solid foundation on our defense going forward, with the offense already gonna probably score 30, 35 a game projection. So it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good indeed, man. What's
I like the compensation that the Falcons got, man. I mean, you basically just gave away a third rounder, and that's it. I mean, that's Terry cooking, honestly, right there, because a third rounder, it could be a boom, it could be a bust. We'll never know. At the end of the day, we got ourselves a proven guy somebody that knows the game, somebody that has played a 3-4 scheme, someone who will come in and be a leader to the locker room, someone who will come in and generate some pass rush pressures, if nothing else. And I know we had Bud Dupree last year. If you ask me, I think we did get an upgrade by getting Judon. I think he's a better pass rusher than Bud. And I believe that we will see that this season as well. Now, as far as Justin Simmons goes, I think it's all dependent on Simmons himself. We don't know exactly what he's asking for. We don't know if he's looking for that final contract, to take him on out. So it all depends on what the money looks like. Of course, we can restructure some deals, get $16 million again, like Smitty had said, between just Chris Lindstrom and Jesse Bates alone. So we still can make some moves, and we also still have the possibility of AJ Terrell out there too. Let's not forget that he's still out there, and we may be having to take care of him. So if we don't get Simmons, I can definitely see maybe that money going towards AJ Terrell and seeing about, shoring up our number one corner. So, I mean, but regardless, definitely not a long-term solution if we do get Justin Simmons. Honestly, Justin Simmons getting announced to the Atlanta Falcons right now would even more solidify the fact that we are a win now, go after it, and attack this weaker, NFC conference, because it is getting weaker. And we are going up, so when teams are coming down, you kind of want to be going up. And I believe the Falcons are trending up.
Oh, yeah.
And,
But again, Super Bowl of buzz for me. Go ahead, RJ.
Yeah, and I also want to add, I did see on Twitter, there was reports saying that with the Bears and Falcons both offering third-round picks, they were saying that the Patriots was also asking for a second-round pick from Chicago. And they felt like with the third-round pick, it was going to be a better value with the Falcons than the Bears. And, of course, the Bears, rejected. So that's a win right there as well.
And we owe the Bears one anyway.
And again, like I've said before, with the Falcons probably drafting at the bottom of the first, if they get to the playoffs, they could trade back and get that third round pick right back. So it really doesn't hurt them.
Yep. But, so, needless to say, man, it's a great day in Atlanta. The Falcons finally landed their top tier premier rush guy that we haven't had a presence since the good old days of John Abraham. So we finally, rectified that problem. So we're going to conclude that conversation, and we're going to be moving forward to our man. This is an honor, guys. Yeah. We have a former Falcon legend coming onto the stream in just a few minutes, or in just a second. We're gonna go ahead and introduce him in. But Smitty, I'll toss it to you because this is your landing, man. So please introduce this gentleman, please.
I'm putting in work, man. We putting in work on the sports machine, and we're trying to find former Falcons, man, for our fans, for y'all to get to know what it was like being an Atlanta Falcon. And I actually ran across a former Falcon on Facebook, and y'all know me. I'm gonna ask for an interview because that's what I do, because I love to talk football. But I got in touch with former 4th-round pick of the Atlanta Falcons in 1997, former Florida State Seminole, 1993 national championship. He's played on a team with guys like Derrick Brooks, Warrick Dunn, Andre Wadsworth. I can go on and on. Coach
Charlie
legendary Bobby Bowden. Florida's finest, man, Mr. Henri Crockett, man. We're gonna welcome on to the show right quick. How you doing, man? How you doing?
Doing good, brother. How you guys doing, man?
Doing
excellent,
good, man.
Great one. Pleasure to be on here with you, man.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for having me, man. Smitty, thank you for reaching out, man. It was quite an honor for you to reach out to me. So you had my guy Jesse Tugger on, so that was pretty dope.
Oh, Chuck Smith is my guy, man. Chuck Smith is my guy.
All those guys raised me up, man. That was 1997, pretty cool, man. I was the only linebacker they brought in. A bunch of 12-year veterans.
Right.
Cornelius Bennett, David Brandon, Ruffin Hamilton. So it was actually, I walked into a pretty good situation where I had to grow up pretty quick because those guys are in their 12th year and they have families and they move different. So, they made sure that I moved the same way they moved. So I kind of grew up pretty quick in the organization, but I'm glad I had those guys to mentor me. So it was great, man. So it was pretty cool seeing you had those guys on too.
Yeah,
Yeah, man,
growing up pretty quick
yeah.
indeed, man. A 4th-round pick, and then just the very next year, in 1998, you saw our Atlanta Falcons make it to the pinnacle, to the big game. You were a
Sure.
big part of that, and to that great defense that year. What was it like just in your second year to have? The lights are bright as it is, but in a Super Bowl game, the lights must be intensified by 1,000. Your feelings to walking into the game and just explain how you were feeling that day.
Well, to be quite honest, it was interesting. Like for me, coming from Florida State, I kind of expected it, right? Yeah, I was used to playing in national championship. I played in that championship 3 out of 5 years I was in school.
Yep.
And so I remember getting drafted to the Atlanta Falcons, and I was excited. It was cool because I had family there. It's not too far from Florida. My mom can get to the games, but I really didn't know much about Atlanta. But once I got there, I realized the record that they had the year before, and all I remember getting there was like, I'm getting an opportunity to play with my childhood idol, Cornelius Bennett, and
Yeah.
I used to be in practice just staring at that guy in the meetings, and he was like, "Man, why are you looking at me like that?" I said, "Man, when I was in high school, man, I put in my yearbook who you want to be like, who your idol is, and I showed him it was you, it was him, and he was like, "Man, you making me feel old."
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting, man, because we was losing, and I just wasn't used to losing. I lost 3 games in 5 years, you know what I mean? So I wasn't used to losing, and we played defense a certain way. We always played to the echo of the whistle. Coach Andrews always taught us that, and we always fought for inches. So I brought that same mentality to practice, and to the game. I'm just not used to losing at all. So, and I remember we won the first 2 games. And we went down to San Francisco. We played San Francisco. They beat us 31-3. I'm like, my God.
Yeah, I remember that.
Eye-opener.
Yeah, we went on like a 7-game. We went on a big losing streak. Then we went on a big losing streak. Then we won like the last 5 games. We started to hit our stride. We was always competing, but we'll always lose it in the final minutes or something like that. But we just had a really good culture as a team. And I remember, I always said that was one of my favorite teams to be on because we spent so much time together. I remember every Monday night, someone would host, either Chris Chandler or Ray Buchanan. They would always host like a team night at their house. And it was like a party, you know what I mean? Like if you had kids, Ray Buchanan and Chris Chandler, they'll hire babysitters to put them down in the basement.
Hey.
We'd be upstairs, and we just spent so much time together. And that's when I realized the importance of camaraderie, really enjoying each other. Thanksgivings, I ate Thanksgiving at Jesse Tugger House every year. And we were just so close. And the following year, we made a trade for Tony Martin. I think that really helped us get over the edge and, pair him up with Terrence Mathis. I mean, it was like you had a deep threat with Tony, and Terrence Mathis was just fun. He was Mr. Fundamental. Every route was precise. And he was sneaky fast too, so he can go deep, and he ran all the intermediate routes. And then Jamal Anderson, he just caught fire. He was already a big shifty guy. Nobody really liked running into that guy. But our defense made a big turn. Cornelius Bennett was, man, it's like he had a resurgence. Like he was fast and strong, and Jesse Tugger was a great linebacker, very instinctive, tough guy, smart guy. And then Chuck Smith was he was the energy. He was the spark plug. Like he held everybody. He held everybody accountable. Every day, whether it's practice, he brought that energy to practice. The same thing he did in the game, he did in practice. He was just a great leader. And we just had every level, we had a lot of good leaders. And it was easy for a young guy like me to come in and just follow those guys, and they kind of set the tone on how things are going to be ran on the defense, how we was going to move as a unit. So coming from Florida State, playing with Derek Brooks and, the Peter Boulwares and Renard Wilsons and Andre Wadsworth, it was just one of those things where we were just used to success. And I always had the confidence that we can always win. So I was in the right situation at the right time. And pretty naive too, because I feel like, man, we got here in our second year. We'll be back next year. We open up against Minnesota.
Going from a Super Bowl to that very next season when Jamal Anderson gets hurt. Quarterback goes down and Tony Graziani is starting. What was that like going from a Super Bowl high to really a rock bottom low, in my opinion? What was that like?
It started off in the all season when Coach Reeves let Tony Martin get out of there to Miami Dolphins. I thought that was a big, we thought we was going to be able to run it back. And then, Chuck Smith had his negotiation problems too. And it just went downhill from there. We lost a lot of leadership in the room. We ended up losing Will White, all those things. It was just a tough year. Like a lot of the leadership that was important to the fabric of our defense, we just lost those guys. And a part of it, Dan Reeves, he's a great man. I love him, but I think some point of the way his ego got in the way. And he had a great system, and it's all about the system versus those guys bring value to the locker room, especially young guys like me that need to find their way is trying to figure out this this game of the NFL, because coming from these inner cities, where you're not, you're the first one to really make it. You got to change the trajectory of your family's life. You don't understand the power of money, how things move. Plus, you're in Atlanta, you're trying to figure out. To go out at that point, it was hot Atlanta, man. It was kicking it back then. So it was just like you got to find it out. So having those type of leaders in the room where you never had to question, like, okay, this is what's next. Can't go out on this night. Can't do this. We got to put the study time in. So it was already kind of laid. We kind of took that away from us, and I think that was a downfall. And it was like now we got to build all that back up. Who's going to be that next person to step up? We drafted Keith Brookings, so we lost Cornelius Bennett. I think that they kind of thrust a lot of young guys into leadership positions too early. Ultimately, Keith Brookings turned into an amazing linebacker, and he's a staple in that defense for a long time. And then myself, I ended up going into negotiation problems in my fourth year. I left to Denver, but came back. Spent another couple of years, but just one of those things where things start to fall apart. The integral pieces, and it was downhill from there. Then we were fortunate enough to get Michael Vick, brought Michael Vick in, and and he was a lightning bolt, but he still was pretty raw. You know what I mean?
Electrifying.
Yeah. But he could take over a game at any point, and I think it was a good having somebody like me to talk to Vick at that time. Like it was pretty cool to see a guy with that much power, but he was always a very humble guy. I always called him smooth, because he talked so smooth, so laid back, and I think he came in at the right time. Unfortunately, certain circumstances happened, but he was a great teammate, and I think that Vic was that next lightning bolt that took the Atlanta Falcons in the right direction. And they bought an Algie Crumpler. That class, Algie Crumpler, Michael Vick, Todd McClure, like that class.
That's cold.
Solid class, man. Like that class really helped get us to turn that corner. So that was a really good draft class, and that kind of like start to turn the corner, bring us back.
Yeah. We have a donation here from our brother Big Low Country. Thank you for the $4.99 donation. He goes on to ask, could you ask Mr. Crockett if he remembers one of my best friends that played with him at FSU? His name is Corey James.
Yeah, I remember Corey. I remember Corey. Corey, good dude, man. Really, really good dude, man.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Good
I
stuff.
have a question for you, Mr. Crockett.
Yes.
I know we're talking about, the NFL, but I want to start from the beginning. Could you relive the moments from capturing that natty in '93?
Oh man, I got some. I never really talked about this, and
okay.
So
it's an exclusive, y'all. It's an exclusive. Talk about it, Mr. Henry Crockett.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. So, at that time, right? We was we had a great team, and we was really, really good at the time. And at this time, it was the first game day, like the year that we played Notre Dame down at South Bend. That was the very first game day. A lot of people probably remember it from the OJ trial with the gloves and the shoes. They had the video back when they played at that game. We played at Notre Dame. And that probably, to this day, that's probably one of the most impressive games that I played in, because it was just national media from everywhere. We ended up losing that game in the last minute. A lot of, we lost that game, but we had a chance to get back to number. We only dropped to number 3. And then we needed Notre Dame to win for us to get back up to 1 and 2. Was going to play a game. It was going to be the biggest game in history. And Notre Dame lost to Boston College. And I remember they started putting together, you know, who was going to play. It was BYU was number 3, whatever. So it ended up playing Nebraska. And at that time, they had that black shirt defense. You know, Trav Alberts, the leader of that defense, and they had this running back. He was number 44. He was really, really good. He went first round or somewhere, I remember. But we didn't know about Lawrence Phillips. The guy wasn't already playing, so we go into the national championship game and we looking for number 44, and they put, lo and behold, they put this young kid in number 1, is Lawrence Phillips. Oh my God! Like, man, he was dicing us up, you know, and it was good because that was Warwick's freshman year, and you know, Warwick had a great freshman year, and I remember us being up. And then pretty much the game is almost over, and we kick off to Notre Dame. We kick off to Nebraska, and they run the kickoff almost back and get up and get in good field goal position. And they end up scoring. I think they scored, and now we're down. Like Coach Bowden got his first national championship, and I remember they were pouring the water on them, and then they said, "Hold up, you know, they got one more second." And then No, let me take that back. So now they scored, and everybody just started throwing their helmets down. We were so upset because they scored like 1 minute and 17 seconds left, something like that. And everybody was so upset. In our mind, the game is over. Like, dang, we let them score, man, put us in bad position. We let them score. And I never forget Charlie Ward with this calm voice. He's like, why is everybody so upset? They left too much time on the clock.
Oh,
Sure.
okay,
Yes.
let's go.
When he said that, we was like, let's go.
Exactly, 100%.
I mean, he calmed us. Just why is everybody so upset? They left too much time on the clock, and he took us right down the field, hit Warwick on the quickly pass. Ward did a little juke, got us all the way down the field goal, made the field goal, game over, national champs, man. And it was just amazing. And that's when I really saw leadership, like at its finest. And a guy that I always talk to, even my kid playing football now, I talk to him about the emotions of the games. Like, it's always going to be roller coasters. But the ones that can always see level-headed, whether it's good or bad, those are the truly successful ones. Those ones that you see in the Hall of Fame and all those things. Because you got to take the emotions out of this game. You can't play this game emotional. And that was the first sign that I saw, like, wow, man, Charlie Ward was special. I wish they would have gave him an opportunity to play in the NFL. And I think he set the game up for the Donovan McNabbs and the Keely Smiths to get drafted early right after that, because it was such a big miss on it because they wanted him to make a decision. You gonna play basketball or football? He was like,
right.
You guys are gonna determine what I play. You know what I mean? And could you believe no one drafted him? Like, no one.
Yeah.
No one.
Mind blowing. And he wanted to play football. So ultimately I think he made a good decision.
But they say everything happens
Such
for
an
a
athlete.
reason, though, because he had an outstanding NBA career, very solid NBA career, so it happened for the best.
Yep. And he put the wheels in motion for the black quarterback, man, that can really, at that time they were still thinking that black quarterbacks can't think, and he really set it up for Donovan McNabb and Keely Scott. Right after that, they had a run on black quarterbacks. I mean, Donovan McNabb, Keely Smith, and somebody else, Dante Culpepper, and all those guys.
Yep.
Oh, speaking of that, and the athlete, you having to, strap up and practice against a guy like Michael Vick, like how attentive to detail did you have to be on every practice to slow this guy down? Because I would imagine, the arm strength, the speed with the legs, it's all there. It's all, out there for the show. But you as a defender on that outside, on that island, having to, either set the edge or just in some sort of coverage where you have to spy a guy like Michael Vick. How difficult was it for you to play on a weekend?
Mike played. He was a scout team quarterback that year because we still had Chris Chandler and stuff in training camp. Mike might not remember this, but I used to have a good time. I had a good relationship with Mike, and we used to have fun in practice. And one day, like, I'm making my drops, and I turn around, and he's just drills the ball, hit me right in my chest. I swear he almost broke my damn chest, man.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, man. He wasn't really, I don't think he wasn't really trying to make a completion. He was just trying to hit me in my chest, man. And man, that spiral hit me in my chest so hard, man. I almost thought I was gonna die, man. Listen, that guy.
Power in that arm.
Man, that guy can whip the ball, man. And it was just like a flick of a wrist, man. It was impressive.
And since we brought up Mike Vick, we have a young guy named Mr. Michael Penix that we drafted number 8 overall, first round. Do you, in your opinion, are there any similarities there?
In my opinion, we got the best thrower in the whole draft. Like
there we go.
They made a lot of. I don't know why they do this, but they always pick one guy and they just try to pick him apart. You know what I mean? But we end up getting the best thrower of the football in the entire draft. He should have been the first quarterback off the board, in my opinion. Not only my opinion, my brother's a scout. It was his opinion too. So I thought it was we got lucky with him. I was very surprised to see him drop down that far. You know what I mean? So
I'm glad you said that. Shout out to Mr. Zach Crockett,
former
Raider, former coach. Love to watch him play as well.
Yep.
Absolutely, man.
But their arm strength is similar, but he is he's an elite passer.
Oh, I love it. I love it, man. Got another donation here from Bree Nicole, $4.99. Thank you so much for the donation. She says, Smitty Berto, with the love signs, she says, keep up the great work. I love my QB, Michael Penix. 100%, Ms. Bree. We're behind you 100%. We love our young guy, our young upstart rookie quarterback, man. We expect great things out of the young man as his time matures here in Atlanta. But Mr. Crockett, the position or the defense has evolved so much in 20 plus years. Is there a defense in mind that you've seen throughout your time in the NFL, on and off, as to saying, wow, I wish I would have played on that defense? Is there one that sticks out to you the most that you wish that you could have been a part of?
The Baltimore Ravens defense, when they had Peter Boulware, Darren Sharper, and Ray Lewis, that was a pretty good defense. They had some really good front four. The San Francisco 49ers defense, they got some really good bookends, and the inside guys can rush the passer pretty good. I like that defense they got currently. They got a good group of linebackers too that play the game the way they supposed to be played. They're runners and hitters. Those are ones that defense really stands out to me because of the linebackers, the way they play the game, the way they dominate, the way they get up the field. Like they really have a mindset of like they play the run on the run on the way to the pass, so they're always in pass rush mode. And I always think that was always the best defense. You know what I mean? You ask good pass rushers that they play the run, they always say, no, I play the run on the way to the pass. Like they don't play the run, you know what I mean? Which is good for linebackers like myself because it gives me opportunity to straight, you know what I mean? Guys, give me 1 second. I want to make sure if my computer don't go dead, I'm gonna get this charger.
Go ahead.
Gotcha. Go ahead. Take your time. Take your time, man. In the meantime, we'll address this other super chat for Dr. Ganja 99 with the 199 donation. He says Terry finally used the Visa and not the green dot. By that he means acquiring Matt Judon. It was a pretty penny, and that Visa was loaded. So hopefully, with the contract details to hopefully come out within the next couple days, we will find out what his new contract's going to look like. And of course, like we spoke about earlier, it will affect how we negotiate with up and coming contracts like AJ Terrell restructures pending with Chris Lindstrom and Jesse Bates. Hell, like I mentioned, even a guy like Caleb McGarry as well. So there's a lot to tune in for, and there's still a lot of news this week that's going to come out for these Atlanta Falcons. And us here at the 95 North Sports Machine, we're going to do our very best to keep you up to date with all news surrounding these Atlanta Falcons, Hawks, Braves, you name it. We cover all Atlanta sports. Yep, we cover everything. WWE as well for my WWE heads. As we all know, the tribal.
They're going to be Alberto there.
You know it, man. But we're just giving Mr. Henri Crockett a few minutes to get himself prepared to come back in. But in the meantime, any questions from the chat, please drop them in.
Yeah, we're not going to be like the Jets. I know that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for those kind words. Thank you for those kind words. 10-plus game this season, I agree with that. I'm at 11-6 myself because there are always trap games involved. So, look, when you talk about trap games, hey, it can happen.
Yes, sir. Welcoming back Mr. Henri Crockett.
Sorry about that, guys. My daughter.
Hey,
ain't no thing.
it's all good. It's live TV, man. Anything can happen on live TV, and it's all good,
I had
man.
more juice. I thought I had more juice, man. I saw that we got Matthew Judon, man. That's pretty impressive, man.
Woo!
Yeah,
It's a linebacker spot.
That's
That was my
really
next
good.
question.
yeah.
Yes,
What's-
sir.
what's-
And Paramount with Grady Jarrett, man, that's gonna be pretty good. I'm excited about that.
Yes, 100%, man.
Yeah.
A guy that has been a tone setter in this league. He played for Baltimore, recently New England. Is a guy that's, proved he could handle his own, right? 66 and a half career sacks, as we mentioned in the beginning of the show. A much needed element for these Falcons. The last time we had anything significant, you got to go back to 2016 with Vic Beasley, and then you got to go back to 2006 when we acquired John Abraham from the Jets. Since we had anything prominent at this edge position. So today, Terry Fontenot and company really did this Falcon fandom or this Falcons team a good deed by getting Matthew Judon. Guys, any more questions for Mr. Crockett? I know he's
one.
to answer them all. What you got?
One
What you
too.
got, Finn?
I want to thank him for coming on, but I gotta ask this:
Mhm.
when you and your brother made it to the NFL, what was Thanksgiving like?
You know what? So
How many turkeys were cooked?
it's a funny thing, right? We got really, really lucky for 2 years in a row because we never really shared. Once he got to the pro, he went 2 years before me. Like Thanksgiving was pretty much,
Right.
they always playing ball, so we never got a chance to spend it. So I never forget we played Seattle, and then we had we had to play Oakland Raiders. Instead of going back home, we flew to Oakland and we stayed there for a week. So I was able to spend Thanksgiving with the family, with my mom, and and I'll never forget playing the Oakland Raiders, and it was crazy during Thanksgiving. And if you ever been to that black hole down there, it was just insane. They dress up, they're crazy. And I remember was warming up in the end zone, and those guys like, Henri, your mom loves Zach Moore.
Wow.
Oh man.
It was crazy, man. But we both cooks, man. So I'm a big cook. My brother's a big cook, and my mom is a big cook. So we always sharing the duty. So Thanksgiving has always been great.
I'm the last person you want to tell that to.
Man, that's my hobby, man. That's
man.
my hobby, man. I enjoy it. The time that I get it, I have now. I'm got to be pretty busy. I'll be real busy the next year. I don't know if you guys know, I just became the first player to play in the Orange Bowl, become the president of the Orange Bowl. So I'm the president of the Orange Bowl.
Nice.
Amazing.
I just got
That's amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So those Thanksgivings means a lot. We'll be doing a lot of traveling for football, going around to making sure, because we got to be biased in the Orange Bowl. We don't know, especially now with the way the system now with the playoffs. So, and the pretty cool thing about my year, next year I'll be the president. I have a semifinal game and I had a national championship. So I'll be the president during that time.
That's dope. That's dope.
So excited about that.
One thing that I've always wanted to know, and you got a front row seat. What was it like playing for one of the greatest coaches of all time in Bobby Bowden? Because his last years there, he got a bad rap. But in the 90s, him and Joe Paterno, man, they were just like that. So what was it like for playing one of the greatest college coaches of all time?
Yeah, Coach Bowden was pretty cool, man. What I love about Coach Bowden was he was a man of his word. I remember when he came to recruit me, and I always say it was a different recruitment. He was writing a book when he was recruiting me, and he actually wrote about me in his book. And I had a good special relationship with him. And I'll never get him come to recruit me. I grew up in a real drug infested neighborhood. And all the coaches, whenever they come see, they come in like they little Ford Taurus and all these different, little rental cars and all that. So when Coach Bobby came to see me, he pulls up like with police escort, 3 Cadillacs, and a Cadillac truck in the back. He pull up on the street, and I live on a dead end street in the hood, and he pulls up like the president. He gets out, all the dope boys and everybody standing around. They trying to figure, they almost feel like it's a raid or something going on. And Coach Bowden gets out, walk around the neighborhood, talk to all the drug boys like it was no big deal, having a great conversation. I'm like, took over the whole neighborhood. You know what I mean? And it was at that point, man, I was like, man, I want to play with dude, man.
Yeah, pull like that.
It was cool.
That was that.
It was cool, man. Walk in the house, go in the fridge, make his own drink, sit down. Man, you know, my mom was a ordained minister. She's really into the church, man. They started talking about the Bible. I said, oh man. You got my mom.
Okay.
It was over, man. But the thing about him was, like, when you got there, everything he said he was gonna do, he did. I mean, every Sunday that we would always go to church together. So we had all different denominations. So every Sunday we go to a different church, and all the players had to attend. But for him, it's like he never really coached us like that. Like, he let Coach Rick, who ultimately became University of Georgia head coach, and University of Miami. He had Coach Chuck Amato, who ended up becoming the head coach at NC State, and then you had a lot of different coaches that ended up being head coaches. He let them kind of do their thing, so he managed he managed the coaches. You know what I mean? So if you saw Coach Bowden, either like he would just invite you in the office to have checking on you and see if you was okay, or you was in trouble. You know what I mean? And so he was almost like that grandfather that, all he did was make sure you was okay, everything was good. And, you didn't want to be in the office, nothing bad. But he was just a great guy, stand-up guy. If you needed anything, he always helped. He didn't want to help me get started my nonprofit.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you mentioned that, Mr. Henri Crockett. I'm gonna pull a quote from your website here, if I may, and I quote: Henri Crockett is the co-founder and president of the Crockett Foundation, a South Florida-based nonprofit organization that serves a very important movement, which is the youth through educational programs with the mission to help build character, develop leaders, and improve the community one child at a time. Sir, that is an amazing thing to do. As we all know, the children are our pillars, our next presidents, doctors, chefs, and everything. Can you please talk a little bit about your nonprofit organization and just push the notion out for the viewers that are watching?
Yeah. Well, my nonprofit actually started in 1997 in Atlanta. I adopted 26 kids from the Boys and Girls Club in the West End. And I stayed with those 26 kids. 21 of them, 26 graduated from college. I stayed with those to the college. And I knew that I wanted to get into the nonprofit sector. I wanted to give back to my community. And the minute I got drafted, and that's where I started. So I'm really the first one to really, and at that point it was the east end zone, right where we used to come out the tunnel in the old stadium. I used to have my own seats with my banner right there on the wall, Team 94. And the Falcons helped set that up for me. We had the kids, I wanted them to have their own section. And then later on, we had to get it approved by the NFL. Later on, you start seeing players, especially in Tampa, with their nonprofits, putting it all around the stadium. So I was the first to do that, along with the help of the Atlanta Falcons. But those kids in the West End, man, every Tuesday I spend my off day with those kids. Even to the point of sometimes they'll stay the night at my house, the guys. And, and the idea behind them was that, at that point in time, what you learn is these kids, they meet so many NFL players, so many entertainers. They come in for the photo op and all those things. And believe it or not, these kids are pretty sharp. And they know it's pretty much transactional, that you're going to come in and leave. So they was expecting me to just leave at some point. I just kept showing up week after week and being consistent, man. We just developed a great relationship over time. And that helped catapult me into what I want to do after I finished playing. I knew that I wanted to go back to my neighborhood and make an impact. And I wanted to do my best to try to bridge that digital divide and make sure that in our community, every kid has some technology in their home. And so I just, with my own money, it took me 7 years, man. And I used to count the payment, and I was a teacher. I was an accountant, the bookkeeper, the cleanup man. I did it until I got my first grant. And I was able to hire somebody to work with us, and Miss Robinson, and she's still with me to the day, working with our youth. And now we've gone from that one program to we serve over 400 kids a day. Spread between 8 schools in Broward County down here. And then we also just finished the largest back to school event in all of Florida. We served over 3,500 families in one day. But we make sure all the kids have uniforms, shoes, backpack, school supplies. We partner with University of Miami to make sure the kids have immunization shots. We also have a great partner with Children's Service Council, which is pretty much the top funder in all of Broward. Whenever you pay taxes here in South Florida, a line item there is called Children's Service Council, and those taxes go towards given to small and large nonprofit organizations like myself. And they're a great partner. Anything that I go to them for that I want to do, they really get behind it. So, and it's all about just making an impact, man. I believe that if you're in a position to help, you should do it. And
100%.
Amen.
100%. I want to be like you, like when I grew up, Crockett.
everything I put at the ground, man. I'm excited about, I'm a beneficiary, man. I had a lot of people in my life that poured into my life and at every corner. I say that not just in regular life, but even when I got drafted to the Atlanta Falcons, I had the Jesse Tuckles, I had the Canadian Bennett's, the David Brandons that actually just helped me along the way, showed me a way. And I always say, at every point in my life, I always had somebody to like pour into me and help me. And you realize that I don't care how successful you are, you're going to need someone to help you. We all need help, and collaboration is great. So I've been able to do that.
That's crazy you say that, because that's always my philosophy when I get to helping people with their podcast. Each one teach one. You got to help somebody, help them get to that next level. It's not all the time about what you're getting out of it. Sometimes it's just about God giving you a gift and using it to help each other. 100%. So I definitely agree with that 100%. But RJ, you haven't asked one question. Do you want to answer the question before we get out of here?
Yeah, I actually had a two-parter.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so one, I'm gonna go actually project about this season. What's your expectation of this Falcons team right now, and what you think their ceiling is going to be?
Now that we got Judon, that was one of the things I wanted to get us another pass rusher. I thought can really help change the game. I think Matthew Judon will be able to do that for us. I think that as offense, we got some adults in the room now. I think his name slipping my mind right now, from Minnesota, the quarterback from Minnesota.
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins. I always love Kirk Cousins because he's an adult in the room. He's consistent, and he's that certain leadership. And whenever a guy can bet on himself, I always like him. There
we go.
He's always bet on himself. And
Sure.
I think it's going to do wonders for our running back. I mean, he's a special talent. I think that's going to give him some great balance, especially those young receivers that we got to. I think it's going to really, he's going to show them how to be professionals, because one thing you're going to get from him is he in bed every night. He got a family. He loves his family. And he's going to be prepared every day. He can be the first one in the building, the last one out. And he has great leadership qualities where he can bring people together. So, I mean, I could see our biggest competition would be Detroit in our conference. I think that we should be able to, if we can get by them, I think we should win that conference. I expect no less than 10 wins. I think 10 wins we get 9, 10 wins be good.
So I'm on record. So I'm on record as saying Super Bowl or bust. So you with me, right?
Yeah, I think we got a good shot. I think we got a really, really good shot. I think Jim making some good moves, bringing in some professionals. Judon is a professional. I think he's another adult in the room that had to work for everything he got, right? Working on short deals and all these things. So I think that breeds a lot of maturity, a lot of determination. I think they brought in a lot of good key pieces, and I'm excited to see what they do with it. Jared has always been the mainstay. I love the way he played the game. I love his approach. He has a motor like no other. He plays the game the right way. So I think having some, and AJ Terrell's doing pretty good as well. I like that kid. We got some good players on all levels. Now we can get that Justin Simmons. I think that'll be huge.
Yes.
I mean, he's a
on the same page tonight.
We're talking about same frequency tonight, baby.
Yes,
I don't understand why he's out there.
We struggle with that too, man. That's a Pro Bowl caliber safety out there. He's been a baller since he came in the league in 2016. Why is he's still a free agent? I have no idea.
Yeah, I remember his rookie year when they threw him in the fire, man. He was making plays. Like, wow, this kid's making plays in the 31. Like, wow. Hopefully we can lock that in. I think it would be special.
Well, Chris, man, we definitely want to be respectful of Mr. Crockett's time, of course. Any more questions you guys have?
Yeah, my second part.
Chris,
go ahead and let RJ get his in, and then I got just one more. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, so pretty much you were talking about how you was giving back to the community, and of course, helping out the future. what message would you say for those, have like those goals of like, becoming like players or like doctors and teachers while, the stuff that's going on around with this world and everything, including like the election and stuff? What like motivational message would you give to those, to the future to like help seek those who want to like, achieve their goals that they're like seeking in the future?
Yeah. I always say deferred gratification is in my world. I always talk about deferred gratification. And what I mean by that is, all I had is always, I tell my son this all the time. Everybody want to be a beast. Everybody want to be a big dog, but nobody want to do what big dogs do. And what I really mean by that is this world has got to the point where everything is so transactional. Like, and if I do A, I expect B in order to work hard, And if you can work hard if you can really just put your best foot forward without worrying about what the end result is, I think this world will be a much better place, because that's what it's really all about. Like, if things don't go your way, are you going to really stop working hard to being your best? You know what I mean? Because the thing about it is, even when you're doing great, it's always going to be a time when things don't go your way. But if you can keep your head and you can work even when things not going your way, and even you can work hard, even you don't know what the outcome is going to be. And if I'm not promised anything, if I still keep my head and work, I always believe that, things will always work out on your end, So how do we put our best foot forward? How do we delay that gratification? Meaning, like, I don't really care what the outcome is. Like, I'm going to give you my best no matter what. And I think for some reason we've gotten away from that, even with the kids. Like, in order for them to work, they want to know what they're getting to do it.
To do it,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, you're getting the opportunity to do it, If anything comes out of that, just icing on the top. Like, how you do some things should be how you do all things. And I just think that's important. I just think consistency, showing up every day, putting your best foot forward regardless of the outcome. I think that's what it's really all about. And because, we're not promised that everything is always going to be great, but we are always going to be promised that the opportunity is going to be there. I don't know when it's going to come, but I know it will come. But the question is, are you going to be ready when it shows up? Are you going to have done the necessary steps to make sure that you're prepared? You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
Solid, man.
So
Definitely.
that's what it's all about, man. Showing up every day. If you just be consistent, man. Take one step at a time, show up every day, put one foot in front of the other, everything is gonna be all right, man. That's what I really, really believe, man.
And that's why I stay on the screen every day in everybody's living room. That's exactly why I do it.
Yeah. Baby steps.
Yeah, man. I just want to know if there's a favorite, defensive young player that you have that you got your eyes on and just saying, I think that guy can take the next step, the next leap. Any particular linebacker, any particular young player that we had just drafted that you just saying, I got my eye on that guy.
Well, for the Falcons or just what?
Yes, sir, for the Falcons.
I really don't know the really young guys with the Falcons yet. I really don't pay attention. I just look at pretty much more of the just overall acquisitions that we have, the team in its totality. So I don't want to speak out of place on those.
Give us one in general then.
Yeah,
in general, a good linebacker. I thought he had a chance of being really, really good. The Queen kid from Baltimore that went to Pittsburgh. I would like
Patrick Queen.
I would like for him to stay in Baltimore. I think they had the right defense for him. I don't know how it's going to work out for him in Pittsburgh, but young linebackers, man, I'm in love with the linebackers from San Francisco, honestly.
Fred Warner.
Listen, man, they're the standard, man. They are the standard, man. They had a really good linebacker from Indianapolis Colts, but they ended up cutting him this year. I don't know what he was doing really, really well, but then they ended up cutting him this year.
Samson Ebukon?
No, he was an all-pro guy, number 53.
Oh, Shaq Leonard. Yeah.
Shaq Leonard.
What happened with him last? They just
injuries.
fell out of love with him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
injuries that cost him playing time. So it was only a matter of time, and then they were paying him a boatload of money. So
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, so he did get a new. So he did get a new contract. Then I didn't
no,
know
no,
Yeah.
that.
no, he didn't. He ended up, I think, in Dallas, but Dallas ended up cutting him as well. So you know, those injuries the last couple of years that really sidelined him. So we don't even really know if he's going to play again.
Correct.
Right. That's
Yeah.
facts.
So who's the backers at Atlanta right now?
Troy Anderson, Nathan Landman, Caden Ellis, and they just drafted J.D. Bertrand from Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought he was a pretty good player.
Yeah, Captain America is what they're called him. It's stamped.
Yep.
It's stamped. I'm expecting to see some
man.
American muscle out there. So we'll see what happens.
I'm gonna have to start watching these backers now. I'm disappointed. I don't know none of the backers.
Oh no, you have plenty to be worried about outside of football, sir. You have
Oh,
you
yeah.
have a bigger purpose outside of the
Yeah.
outside of this,
Bigger than
man.
football.
It's good, man.
Things bigger than football.
We'll
Yeah,
help
now I
you
gotta
out.
watch him now.
We'll help you out with the names anytime, man. But Smitty,
anytime.
That's pretty cool, man.
But yeah, man, we are very thankful, man. You blessed us with your time, man. We know you have a very busy schedule. You just told us yourself and telling us about your foundation. But one thing for sure, now that I have your information, I will definitely reach out
I
again
love
for
it,
you to
man.
come
You
on,
got-
talk some Falcon football with us during the season. And again, thank you, man. But
Man, thank
take
you,
it away.
man, for having me. You guys doing an amazing job, man. Just keeping the game pure and just talking about the game in its true essence, man. So it's much needed. Platforms like this is much needed.
Yeah.
Where you can just go and really just talk about the game and not be biased, but just really just talk what it is. So man, I'm humbled that you guys asked me to be on. I really appreciate you giving me the time just to talk about the things that I do in my life and being able to just talk a little football.
Anytime.
Absolutely.
Believe it or not,
Anytime,
my kids, they don't even know that I play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, if I can show it to you guys.
Come on, man.
I came home, right? And you talk to your kids a lot. And and for my birthday, they blew up this. Let me see if I can show you guys, man. Can y'all see the house?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Man, so I came home one day, man, and my kids gave me a birthday present. And if you look behind me, man, this is what they created for me, man.
Oh man, that's
nice.
That's what I knocked Jerry Rice helmet off, man.
Yeah.
That's Jesse Tugg over there going crazy,
man.
And that's God, what is his name? Cornerback, man. That was pretty cool.
Hey man, that's freaking
That was my first start.
That's the same as that pitch I used. Right.
Yeah, San Francisco.
Wow. That
And
is
so
crazy.
my daughter got the quote my daughter got the quote from the newspaper when I knocked Jerry Rice helmet off, and they had put that little
Put
part
it in there.
where it said,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Hey, now that hard.
he said, I didn't want the
That
young
hard.
guy to know he hurt me, so I stayed in the extra play to not give him the satisfaction. Jerry Rice,
Yep.
man, that was pretty dope, man.
You
That
can
sounds
you
like
can use
Jerry.
that to tell your son, like, hey, listen, Pops was a head buster back in the
I
day.
know, but I was like,
Yeah.
hey, it's funny you say that.
Yeah.
I was telling him that tonight on the way home from practice, man.
Yeah. Man, this is amazing, ladies and gentlemen.
awesome,
We thank you
man.
so much. Mr. Crockett, I'm going to ask you if you can just stay backstage. I want to ask you a question, but I'm going to do it off air. I want to break this quick super chat, and then we'll be concluding the show.
All right, cool.
Antonio Hamilton, man, with the $4.99 donation. Thank you so much. What's up, fellas? Great show as usual. And keep bringing in these great guests on and our Falcon greats. I'm ready for some Falcon football. Let's go. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Sure.
Thank you so very much to everybody that joined the stream tonight. We covered the Matt Judon situation now here in Atlanta, and we were blessed to have Mr. Henri Crockett come up to the show and just really talk to us about some good old Falcons football from before his days in FSU and his thoughts on the 2024 Atlanta Falcons. So if all you folks, man, as you catch this replay, when it ends shortly, please run up the likes and run up the subscriptions too as well to help this platform grow for us individually. For Smitty, Chris, RJ, Mr. Henri Crockett, I'm your host, Berto. We'll catch you on the flip side, and we'll see y'all soon, man. Peace.